Tonight on the live stream, Sean Hannity hosts President Trump in a town hell.
Kevin, tell us what you got. Okay, we don't have Kevin.
Don't tell him I'm here. Welcome, everyone. I am your Heavenly Father, and we are about to get going with a town hell featuring Donald Trump and Sean and Hannity. So this is coming to you delayed because they actually taped this way earlier today in Green Bay, Wisconsin. As soon as I see people come into the chat room, I will let you guys know, and we will get going here. So say hello if you're in one of the chat rooms. If you'd like to join the chat rooms, the best one is actually at YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/KevinlyFather, and you can join the chat room there. Dr. Lisa is here, so good. I know we're up. I know we're live. If you'd like to support this kind of broadcast, please do. Go to KevinlyFather.com. Maybe not now, maybe at the end, whenever you feel like it. Go to KevinlyFather.com, become a patron, and there you can donate $1 a month. You can donate $20,000, whatever you got. I'm not, if you can't afford anything, that's fine. You don't have to donate anything. I welcome everyone, absolutely, especially Ruth Ann 617. Today's broadcast is brought to you by Ruth Ann 617 because she donated $100 quite a while ago, and it went into a previous PayPal account, and I totally misplaced it. I mean, I didn't misplace the money, but it went in there, and she didn't get into the credits, and she's still not into the credits. So today she's in the promo, and she's also bringing you this broadcast, and it'll say her name in a moment. Brought to you by Patron. Oh, for goodness sake, I didn't choose that. Okay, that will be changed as well. But she is in the promo. You get what you pay for. Actually, if you're Ruth Ann, you don't. So I will take care of that. If you'd like to donate directly, just go to paypal.me/KevinlyDad, and you can make a one-time donation. Otherwise, go to KevinlyFather.com, and that's all the money shilling. I don't have my pajamas on anymore. I've changed into real clothes because it's like 7 o'clock at night here. So, welcome everyone. Let's get going on the interview. First there's a Hannity interview, and then they do the town hall. So, start with the interview.
You look at the idea of open borders, sanctuary cities and states. He would give amnesty.
Oh, yeah.
You look at, he wants to raise taxes, everything's free, and then the Green New Deal, which would eliminate the lifeblood of the world's economy.
Number one, the Democrats want open borders, okay? Open borders, think of it. Even if you just look at, the virus that we're talking about, take a look at that, open borders. If you go to San Diego, where we just built a beautiful new long stretch of wall, if we didn't have that wall, California would be infected like nobody's ever seen before, because the stretch just to...
California is infected like no one's ever seen before. In fact, they're now having more infections than they did even at the height of the beginning of the wave. We're not we're out in the middle of the ocean. We're treading water in a tsunami, and we have been since this started because he didn't test for 6 weeks. And that's when the virus took hold. And then we opened everything up, and we've been spreading around the virus ever since. Baja California, which is what he's talking about, Mexico, on the other side, not Baja, the state of California, Baja, the state of Baja California, in Mexico has Tijuana. They have 7,000 confirmed cases. Just the county of San Diego, across the border on the American side, has 3,000 more cases. Mexico should be paying for that wall. It's keeping the Americans out.
The left of San Diego, right next to the wall, is heavily infected in Mexico. So if we didn't have it, they want to have
much
open
more heavily
borders.
infected in San Diego.
They want to have sanctuary cities. They want to have
Rich.
no guns. You know, in other words, end the Second Amendment. And they want to have no energy because they're...
Whoa. They want to take away our guns? Put a pin in that. I'm giving you time to put a pin in that.
Totally against anything petroleum. They're probably against everything. They're probably against wind, too. You know, it kills birds.
How do you not
Democrats are against wind energy. That's what he's saying.
take control of a city and allow anarchists to take over, call it whatever you want to call it?
And with us, they're not. And with us, we've gotten very tough. You know, we have over 100 people under arrest, which nobody knows. I said, how come nobody knows
people?
that? They said, sir, we're law enforcement people. I said, they're right. They're not public relations people. But we should let people know we've arrested a lot of people. And based on the Monuments Act, which is already in existence, they get 10 years in jail. Let's see. Let's see. Now people are just learning about it. But when they hear 10 years, ever since I announced that last week, it's been very modified by comparison. I don't know if you see that, but very modified. So they want to knock.
I agree 100%, Jana. The damn wind-loving Democrats. Wind doesn't just blow in the wind.
Out a monument or a statue, they get 10 years in prison.
Joe left his bunker for 5 minutes, and, well, he had another gaffe. Said 120 million people now have died from coronavirus.
Wow.
I don't know whether to laugh or cry.
Did he say that?
Yes, he did.
So that's
He
a
did.
third of our population.
He did.
That would be,
Yeah,
that would be
that's
off by
pretty
quite a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, he said that.
Yes,
He
sir.
did.
That's too bad.
I don't make...
And then he immediately corrected it and said 1,000. So he did say 120 million, and then he said 1,000. He did correct it. Let's see if Hannity mentions that.
things up. I'm not fake news. I do real
Can
news.
I be honest?
He does real news.
Yes, he did.
So that's a third of our population.
That would be off by quite a lot.
I mean, he said that.
He did.
Yes, sir.
And then he corrected it.
That's too bad.
I don't make things up. I'm not fake news.
No,
I do
you're
real
not.
news.
You're not making
It's
anything
too
up.
bad.
He said that, and then he corrected
It's
it.
too bad. But
He corrected it.
Sean,
Sean?
I want to be a nice guy. I think I am a nice guy. I'm proud of being. I love people.
Sean, do you want to give the
My
president
most
the information he
important job is
needs?
to run this country great. I built it once,
No?
so great.
Right.
Turn it off. Now we're doing it again, and it's happening.
And you're ready to roll.
It's going to be better than ever. But here's the thing:
Hey, Chris.
I've got to do that, folks. This is serious business. We can't have somebody. That's a mistake. That's not a mistake. That's a serious error. When he says he's running for the U.S.
And then he corrected it. Right?
Senate, that's a serious error. When he says I'm going to beat Joe Biden, which got very little cover.
When he said he was running for the Senate, he was actually talking about what he would say back when he was running for the Senate. So if you just watch him saying, I want your vote for the Senate, and you cut out the part where he says, back when I would say, I want your vote for the Senate, because he was a senator.
That's not like an error. Gee, it's a slip up. That's a serious error. So when you just told me that, I hadn't heard that just happened, I guess.
Yes, it did.
That's a serious error.
And then he
That's
corrected
not
it,
a
Mr.
permissible
President.
type of error, because there's something going on.
Hey, verified.
We can't take that. It's wonderful to say, gee, I feel sorry, or it's too bad, because I do. Except we're talking about the presidency of the United States, and it's just not acceptable.
Last question.
Trump the best. He's literally responsible for killing 120,000 plus Americans by screwing up the test for the first 6 weeks and not taking this virus seriously. Trump the best.
just want, if you could just pan around
Hey, producer Debbie.
our camera and look at the sheer size of this incredible ship.
That's right. So this is one of the
Wow.
ones that actually
It's a
isn't
ship.
in the country.
Biden. Hey, verified one. Biden's a joke. Well, a joke is beating your guy by 9 points right now. So, ouch.
It's in another contract.
Wow.
And what happens is these ships are all happening now under this administration.
Yeah. Or more money spent on the military. You kept your tax promises.
Whenever there's Trump idiots in here, I start watching the chat. Honestly, like we've all heard what Trump has to say, but if you megas want to start talking, please do. I get more. The more you talk, the more money I get. So keep feeding me, please.
Supreme Court justices. You'll have 400 plus miles of wall built by
We'll have
election day.
Very easily we'll be up to that.
Okay, Jackie is saying that Cuomo killed more people than Trump. How did Cuomo kill more than Trump if Cuomo's just responsible for New York, and New York is just one of 50 states which that guy is responsible for?
And we'll have 500 miles just a little bit after the end of the year, way ahead of schedule. And this is despite the fact that the Democrats didn't want to have any wall built because they wanted open borders. Think about it. You take the virus.
Democrats
and
do
you
not
have
want open
borders.
borders.
We would be in trouble like you've never seen, because the trouble that Mexico.
Trump, just a couple days ago, said we're at 115. So he forgot about 5,000 Americans.
God.
Right.
And the
But
South
yes, at
American
random. He
countries.
said
Look
we're
at
going to get
Brazil.
past 120.
Look at what's happening there. People could flow in. We have among the lowest number of, we call them break-ins, that we've ever had coming in from the southern border.
Roberto, that is incorrect. I'm in my mother's attic, and my mother bought this equipment for me.
Plus, Mexico has 27,000 troops guarding.
Actually, so the best part, this equipment and this broadcast, it's all paid for by people, by American voters, actual Americans, and a Canadian, and somebody in Belgium, and somebody in Australia, and somebody in Ireland, who's our executive producer. So yeah, the people are bringing you this broadcast. Americans and people outside of America who care about America, who care about you. So say thank you. We're never going to get through this town hall.
Us, gratis, guarding us, guarding that people don't come in. This is some difference between the way we had it and the way it is now. We have a strong border. We have strong everything now, John.
Last question. How many jobs will be created?
No one's coming to America right now because we're the epicenter of the virus.
Just for these
You
20 ships?
ultimately have 10,000. It's starting off at 2, goes to 4, goes to 6. We'll ultimately go to 10,000 jobs.
Hey,
I
Larry.
thought those jobs were never coming back.
They're coming back, and this is a great state. Wisconsin is a great state, and these craftsmen, as boat builders, are phenomenal.
Roberto, I don't have daddy issues. I never knew my daddy. Actually, no, that's not true. Kevin Lee Granddad is awesome. Jackie, what ignorance do I have? Please educate me. Educate all of us. Please. We love it when you guys come in here. Let's just stop. Let's forget, Trump.
You just saw, I met one young man, his grandfather, his father, and him, and now his son is going to start working here.
Amazing.
But it was closed. It was ready to close. I think
We know,
40
Lizzie.
people, 40 or 50 people. It was going to close, and now it's a vibrant place and great for Wisconsin.
You've been very generous with your time.
Thank you very
Mr.
much.
President.
Thank you.
It all adds up.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And now, here's my town hall that we taped earlier today from an airplane hangar in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Now, by the way, we followed all the rules and recommendations of the county in which we're doing this so as to have as many people as they recommended. Small crowd, but an enthusiastic group of people. Obviously, because of all that we've been dealing with COVID-19, we had a lot of ground to cover tonight. Watch this.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thanks for joining us. We're going to
Oh, that's right, Danielle. You're a moderator, so I don't know. I think Danielle, your job is if you see something in the chat and they'll say, "Should I let this through because it's got a nasty word in it or lib," as we found out today, then go ahead and let it through, Danielle. I think that's what happens with a moderator. I have no idea, but I made you a moderator last time, so go for it.
Take some audience questions throughout the hour. You're here in Wisconsin. One of the things everybody's looking for, and we'll get into more detail throughout the hour, is the economy. You are going to leave this town hall and you're going to announce that you're building 20 new ships. You're rebuilding the military.
Yeah.
And how many jobs?
Well, it's going to be probably 6,000, 7,000 jobs. Could go up to 10 in Wisconsin alone.
The projection is 1,500.
And it's a great shipyard that was on hard times. And now it's a very good shipyard, and a lot of people are going to be working. And it's one of the most beautiful ships. It looks like a yacht with a lot of ammunition on it, I will tell you. It's really something. And we'll probably end
That's what our taxpayer money should be going towards. Beautiful ships.
up with 20 or 25. And these are big ones, beautiful ships. And they do a beautiful job in Wisconsin. So I'm here. It's sort of like a launch. We're starting work. And the contract's all given. And you won it right here. So congratulations, folks.
We as a nation, we've been watching. There was universal agreement that what happened to George Floyd should never happen, can never happen again.
Yes.
And you've been very outspoken about it as well. And there were peaceful protesters, but then there were people rioting. We see anarchy. We see rocks and bottles and bricks and Molotov cocktails thrown at police.
For a second there, I thought we were going to talk about social justice. No, let's get to the rioters.
Police officers, police precincts burned to the ground in Seattle, an autonomous zone that still remains, it's changing apparently today, but, taken over, including a police precinct. And you're offering all of these states help, New York.
The police precinct isn't taken over. It's fine. There's a fence around it. I went by there just a couple of days ago. The windows aren't even broken. The protesters are leaving it alone. There's the graffiti on it, but the graffiti is only on the boards that the police put up when they left. They evacuated. They took everything out of there because they didn't want to deal with the protesters, the rioters, etc. They're like, just please don't hurt it. We're just not going to be right here because we understand you guys want to be right at this corner. So the protesters got 3 blocks. And then there was a shooting last weekend, and one person got killed. So, one person. Moving on.
Illinois and Washington, what are they telling you when you offer them help?
Well, first of all, we have arrested, I think almost, but it could be over the number, hundreds of people. We have arrested a lot of people for what they've done. They've created bedlam. They've destroyed very important things. I mean, you're also talking about statues of George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. They'd like to get Jesus. You know that, right? They said, we want to get Jesus.
You had Sean King, the radical,
These are nothing to do with any particular event other than they're troublemakers, they're agitators, and they're anarchists. The big thing they want is they want to really destabilize our country, and we don't let them.
Right, but the protesters for civil rights, are we going to cover that? The protesters who are upset with the police killing black Americans and white Americans, and I'm sure Asian Americans, Hispanic Americans. What about those protesters?
So I said to my people, if you've arrested so many, how come we don't know about it? They said, we don't talk about it, so we do it. But I said, I think the public should know it. And, you know, we have a statute.
Roberto, you said, and are you say one person is not significant? I am not saying that. I want you to put a pin in that because we're going to get back to that.
Act, a monument act, which puts you in jail for 10 years if you do what they've done. So we've got that. We've got all the tapes, because the nice part is it's all on television. Like the character on the horse the other day, he's up there putting on the ropes. He's in trouble on the Andrew Jackson, beautiful, it's beautiful, right opposite the White House. And you got to remember, Andrew Jackson, the Battle of New Orleans, and so much, he was a...
The Trail of Tears. Are you going to mention the Trail of Tears? Because that's really what he's known for most historically. When I first moved to this country, first thing I learned about Andrew Jackson, Trail of Tears.
Very good president. He was a great general. And you can't let that happen. But they're after Abraham Lincoln. And tonight, I guess they're looking at Abraham Lincoln. And that was the Emancipation Proclamation. So you have that, and you're signing Emancipation Proclamation, and you have somebody, I think, that wasn't freed, and he's getting up. It's the position of he's getting up. He's being freed by Abraham Lincoln. And I can see controversy, but I can also see beauty in it. And it was paid for by slaves. I don't know if you know that. It was paid for because they were so grateful to the president. It was paid for that reason. And they want to take it down. And, you know, we can take things down, too. I can understand certain things being taken down, but they ought to go through a process legally. And then we take it down, in some cases, put them in museums or wherever they may go.
So what is he saying here? Is he saying that he might be willing to take down some Confederate statues and put them in museums, which has been the suggestion, been the ask all along? And he said, there's no way. We need our heritage. We need our heritage. So he's never clear when he says things like this. You're like, wait, could he? You know, I am for much stronger background checks. And then nothing happens. So this will be walked back. But it really sounds to me like that's what he's saying. And I am the Trump whisperer. So is that what you guys hear? Let's go back. Let's hear that again, because I want to get your guys's. I might be seeing this on many sides. Many sides.
Paid for that reason. He's being freed by Abraham.
Yeah, please.
They want to take it down. And, you know, we can take things down, too. I can understand certain things being taken down, but they ought to go through a process legally. And then we take it down, in some cases, put them in museums or wherever they may go. But these are really rioters, and there are a lot of bad people involved.
My job was eliminated because Trump didn't test. My job, along with the jobs of 30 to 40 million other Americans, has been eliminated temporarily because he did not take the pandemic seriously. There's your answer.
You know, they talk about protesters, and they're protesters, but there are beyond protesters, too, and we're not going to allow it. So we have many, many people under arrest. And we have some just from the other night in Washington, but I'm talking about in other states also.
You've offered help to New York?
Excuse me, by the way, and Washington is not D.C., not a state. Because if I say that, a little statement like that, sometimes I'll say...
Fact check, Washington is a state.
Should I correct myself? Because the fake news will say he thought D.C. was a state. So I just want to make that clear so they can't do it. Okay.
Always
they
predicting
do that.
ahead.
Oh, by the way, they do it all the time. You know what I mean?
Let's
like
talk
one
about
person
these
clapping.
states, though. You see your old city, you're now a Florida resident. You're going to save a lot of money on taxes. There's no state income tax in Florida. But you see New York City, 350% increase. You see, in Chicago last weekend, 102 of our fellow citizens were shot, 12 were children, and 14 died. The carnage existed all throughout these years that Joe Biden was vice president, Barack was president.
And the 3.5 years that Trump has been president. That's an interesting word, carnage. I've heard that before somewhere. Someone was saying that they were going to stop that American carnage, and it was going to stop right now. And I want to say that was Inauguration Day. Is that 3.5 years ago already?
This American carnage stops right here and stops right now.
You guys hear that? What? Oh, hold on. I might have the video of that too. Who is that?
American carnage stops right here,
right there,
and stops right now.
2017. So there's violence in Chicago, and there's violence in New York. There's carnage, and he said he was going to stop that. Is that a broken promise? Is that what that is? Because
I don't know any reforms that they put in place after Ferguson or after Baltimore or many other incidents.
No, they did virtually nothing. And I call him Corrupt Joe. He's corrupt. And you look at that administration, they have had more. And wait till you see what's happening. Because you saw the notes now from the Oval Office meeting and all of the things.
We're going to get to that.
What's happening is a disgrace. This is a corrupt situation. We caught them spying on my campaign. They were spying.
No, you didn't.
I said that a long time ago, remember? But I said it without great knowledge. It turned out to be correct. They were spying on my campaign. And if that were the other way around, if it was switched with Democrat and Republican, the opposite way, you'd have people in jail for 50 years for what they did, because that's treason. That's
not
a terrible
treason.
thing what they did. And
literally, treason is one of the few laws actually defined in the Constitution, and that is not it.
what they've done to
It's weird, though, because I know he studies the Constitution. Odd.
people like General Flynn and like others is disgraceful.
I want to get back to that. I want to stay on this issue, though. If we are to become a more perfect union, and if we really want to pursue happiness, we first have to have law and order.
Correct.
Okay, these big cities, we've watched Chicago violence now for how long? All through the Obama, Joe Biden administration.
Years ago.
They barely mentioned.
And the last 3.5 years of your administration. And don't give me that nonsense about Democratic governors. Obama and Biden also had Democratic governors, and yet somehow Biden's responsible for the violence.
It in 8 years.
Yeah.
You see Seattle, you see New York City. We see now people dying in the autonomous zone. I don't know how people can pursue.
Guys, I don't have access to all the chat. I mean, I'm not watching it completely. So if someone is being abusive on YouTube or in Twitter, let me know.
Their happiness and dreams in life if they don't have basic fundamental security.
You can't. You can't. Look, Chicago's an example. It's like worse than Afghanistan. It's worse than, I shouldn't say because they're working with us, Honduras, Guatemala, they're all working with us now. You know, we have our lowest numbers. We have phenomenal numbers on the border.
104 to 115 shootings in Chicago over the weekend. Shootings with, they're shooting people with, oh, what are those things? If only Trump would take away their guns.
Border Patrol has done a great job. We built 220 miles of wall. It's going up very rapidly. We should be doing about 10 miles a week now. And we're going to have, it'll be completed very soon. But what we've done there is incredible. But you look at Honduras, Guatemala, all of these different places. We have cities that are worse, in some cases far worse. Take a look at Detroit. Take a look at what's happening in Oakland. Take a look at what's happening in Baltimore.
If only he was the president of Oakland and Detroit and Baltimore. If only someone had said that they would stop the American carnage. When is a hero going to stand up?
And everyone gets upset when I say it. They say, oh, is that a racist statement? It's not a racist.
I didn't say
Frankly, black people come up to me, say, thank you. Thank you, sir, for saying it. They want help. These cities, it's like living in hell. But last week, and I think 2 weeks before that, they shot 14 and
all Americans have been living in hell for the last 3.5 years.
18 people killed.
Yeah.
And 68 people in Chicago.
104 last weekend.
If I've ever seen a
Sean Hannity just fact-checked the president. And,
case, I know it's very controversial.
68. Hold on.
But last week, and I think 2 weeks before that, they shot 14 and 18 people killed and 68 people in Chicago.
14 and 18 people killed and 68 people last week and the week before. Like, what? He's just saying words.
104 last weekend.
If I've ever seen a case, I know it's very controversial to say, stop and frisk. Okay? Stop and frisk. You take guns away.
Yeah. What?
Chicago's the greatest example.
The president wants to take guns away? I thought that was the Democrats. I thought that he was saying that the Second Amendment was under siege. And here's the president. You just heard him. Let's play it again. Let's play it again.
In Chicago.
104 last weekend.
If I've ever seen a case, I know it's very controversial to say, stop and frisk. Okay? Stop and frisk.
Yeah.
You take guns away.
Take guns away.
Chicago's the greatest example I think I've ever seen of that. Rudy Giuliani was a great...
Pennington Trump, I want to take your guns. That's his new slogan. Trump 2020, empty the barrels.
Mayor, he did it in New York. He started it, and it worked great. Bloomberg blew it because he went crazy with it, and, ultimately he took away a lot of rights and it wasn't a good job.
Oh, hold on, everyone. Producer Joanna is in the room. Producer Joanna is here. Please notice her, because her font is not big enough in the credits. So I'll take a moment, reflect on producer Joanna. Okay, let's move on.
He did. But Rudy Giuliani started stop and frisk, and it was a great thing he did for New York.
The murder rate went, for those that don't know, I lived in New York City at the time, went from around 2,500 a year. They drove it all the way down to 500. And what they did is they went into the areas that had the highest incidence of crime.
That's right.
And saved a lot of lives. So we're American.
And violated people's constitutional rights. Yes, we could do away with a hell of a lot of homicides if we took everybody's guns. But that's not how the Constitution works. And that's why stop and frisk was stopped. It's unconstitutional. Now, if you hate the Constitution, go on, girl.
I think we can do anything. I'm that optimistic. We could stop the violence, right? We
could stop it quickly. And at some point in the not too distant future, I'm going to do it. And if they don't do something with Seattle, we're going to do that. We're going to go in there because what's happening, they're taking over American cities. By the way, in all cases, it's Democrats. They're Democrat.
Look how they've taken over the city. See the pink dot in the middle there? Thank you to @random for that graphic.
Run in all cases. And Joe Biden would have that be the whole country. It's so crazy what's happening. Here's a guy doesn't talk. Nobody.
Again, Joe Biden, if president, would have that be the whole country because presidents can affect how things are in the whole country. That's a president. And he obviously needs more bran in his diet.
But he hears him. Whenever he does talk, he can't put two sentences together. I don't want to be nice or unnice, okay? But, I mean, the man can't speak.
He can't put two sentences together. I don't want to be nice or unnice, but, the man can't speak. Let's play it again.
Whole country. It's so crazy what's happening. Here's a guy doesn't talk. Nobody hears him. Whenever he does talk, he can't put two sentences together. I don't want to be nice or unnice, okay? But I mean, the man can't speak, and he's going to be.
That was several sentences, none of which were complete, and used the word unnice. Is that, someone look that up? Is that actually a word? It might be. Unnice might actually be a word.
You're president because some people don't love me, maybe, and all I'm doing is doing my job. Don't forget. Before the China plague came in, and it's a China plague, before that came in, we had the best job numbers we've ever had. We had the best economy we've ever had.
Not true.
We had the best stock market we've ever had, which, by the way, is getting very close to those numbers anyway. And in NASDAQ, it's actually beat those numbers. But we have the best numbers we've ever had. African American, Asian American, Hispanic American, women. young people without a diploma, young people with a diploma, college, everything. We had the best numbers we've ever had, the best economy we've ever had.
Not even
close.
I
was absolutely doing a number on China. Not that I want to, but we're taking billions and billions away. China ran away from us when they were going to take over our country. If I didn't come along, they would have taken over our country. What they did to Obama and Biden, they ripped.
American debt purchased by China has increased since Trump got into office, speaking of taking over the country.
Off this country, hundreds of billions of dollars a year going into China. And nobody said anything. They didn't even talk about it. It's not like we had a bad deal with China. It was worse. We had no deal.
No
they
deal.
Did whatever. And I get along very well with them. I said, how did it happen? They said, nobody ever asked. Nobody said we're going to make it.
Yeah, because you don't need a trade deal when there's trade going on. Now, if they're doing something wrong, then you go to the WTO and you win your cases 16 out of 19 times, and that's what happened with the United States and China. But anyway.
We're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars worth of tariffs, and we're not paying for them. China's paying for them because they devalue their currency. So we've done an incredible job. We beat China badly.
They didn't pay for it by devaluing their currency. This is his belief, and I'm going to explain it. But in the meantime, if you're interested in the webcam that I'm using, that's it right there, the Wise Cam. Let's just flip it around for a second there, see if you guys can see that. It is made in China. You guys can see it right there. It's kind of blurry, sorry. It's not a super duper webcam, but it's the only thing I could find right now. So China devalued its currency. That brings the prices of their goods lower. So American importers still have to pay the tariff. China does not pay tariffs. American importers import the Chinese goods. They pay the tariff, but because China has devalued its dollar, not by much, it raises the American dollar. So the importers pay $1.05 instead of $1 for something because the tariffs have gone on it. China's decreased the price of it, so instead of costing us $1, it costs 90 cents. So that tariff comes into play, and they're paying $1.05, $1.07, somewhere in that range. They can't pass the complete cost on to the consumers because they don't want the prices to be jacked up too much because then consumers will stop buying. So Trump thinks, that means China's paying for the tariffs. It still does not, because what happens when China's dollar goes down, the American dollar, I don't know, it's not a dollar, the American dollar goes up in price, and then other countries don't buy the stuff that America makes, the manufacturing, which is why in 2019 we had 200,000 fewer manufacturing jobs than we had in 2018. That's under Trump, ever since his tariffs, which is why we were in, before COVID, a manufacturing contraction. Trump was killing manufacturing with the tariffs, which are a tax on the American people. Moving on.
China had the worst year they've had in 67 years prior to the plague coming in. They had the worst year they had in 67 years because of the tariffs and all of the things that I've done. But he'll say, he got beat in the China deal. They didn't do a China deal. China ate our lunch before me, and they would have destroyed our country. China, in my opinion, would have destroyed our country economically if I didn't get elected, and many other things.
And he did get elected, and China's GDP last year was 6.1%. Ours was 2.3.
Coronavirus. We did the ventilators. We didn't have any ventilators. We did the ventilators. We did so much.
10 days after the first identified...
We had 18 to 19,000 ventilators. That's according to the government.
...case of coronavirus in the United States.
Right.
You implemented a travel ban, followed by a quarantine that hadn't happened in 50 years, and then subsequent travel bans. Joe said it was hysteria, xenophobia...
A quarantine that hadn't happened in 50 years. Yeah, because... we didn't have a reason to quarantine. He's making a big deal out of it.
And
terrible.
Fear-mongering.
Well, he didn't say it. They have people that write, I'll make a statement. It'll be a nice statement. It'll be a little complex, or maybe it's not complex. And they will have that statement analyzed. And they'll say, Vice President Biden said, and they'll have it broken down. And I said, he didn't say that. He never.
Wait.
They have people that write, I'll make a statement. It'll be a nice statement.
Okay. This is what Trump is saying. I'll make a statement. It'll be a nice statement, complicated, or maybe it's not complicated. and he switches who's making the statement midstream. He just said, I'll make a statement. So him.
But it'll be a little complex.
Let's go back.
That happened in 50 years, and then subsequent travel bans. Joe said it was hysteria, xenophobic, and fear-mongering.
Well, he didn't say it. They have people that write, I'll make a statement. It'll be a nice statement.
He did say it. I mean, but he didn't say that. I mean, ah!
But it'll be a little complex, or maybe it's not complex. And they will have that statement analyzed. And they'll say, Vice President Biden said, and they'll have it broken down. And I said, he didn't say that.
Why would they say Vice President Biden said if you said it? He's getting worse, folks.
He never said xenophobic because I don't think he knows what the word means.
He did say xenophobic, and you don't know what xenophobic means, and I have that video right here. This is Trump in 2016, and do I have that? I know I have it, kids. I know I've got it. You watch. I'm going to show it to you in a couple of seconds here.
But he said it was xenophobic. It was horrible. So I made that was at the end of January. That's very early.
He just said he didn't say it, and then he just said he did say it. So let's go back on that.
Say Vice President Biden said, and they'll have it broken down. And I said, he didn't say that. He never said xenophobic because I don't think he knows what the word means. But he said it was xenophobic. It was horrible. So I made that was at the end of January. That's
what in the actual fuck? Less than a span of 3 seconds, he just completely contradicts himself while he's trying to be smart about the whole thing. He's got a smart face on. Well, he didn't say, I never said that. Let's watch it again.
And they'll say, Vice President Biden said, and they'll have it broken down. And I said, he didn't say that. He never said xenophobic because I don't think he knows what the word means. But he said it was xenophobic. It was horrible. So I made that was at the end of January. That's very early, January 31st. Nancy Pelosi and many other people, including...
So the reason he always says that Biden didn't know what xenophobic means, and he didn't say it, and he did say it, is because Trump didn't know what xenophobic means when Hillary called him and his supporters xenophobic, and he read it from a teleprompter and said Zima-phobic. This is Trump in 2016 not knowing what xenophobic meant.
She called these Americans every name in the book: racist, sexist, xenophobic, Islamophobic.
Like someone had just made up the word. Zimophobic? They're afraid of an 80s gay nightclub drink? Green Apple Zima. It's actually pretty good. Try it.
Republicans were months later, they were saying, let's go to Chinatown and celebrate. Nancy Pelosi was celebrating in the streets.
February 24th.
Correct, in the streets of Chinatown. And then they, there's no business like this. They just,
Show
you
business?
could do a great job. Like Schumer. I did a phenomenal job on a trade deal. And they asked him, what do you think of the deal? Oh, I didn't like it. No good, no good. He never even saw the deal. It's just like an automatic thing. Do you hear the sound of that helicopter? Is that a beautiful sound?
Beautiful sound.
Hold on, Shannon. If you have an actual job, you go. You go. Get that done. Thanks for watching. Everybody say bye, Shannon.
Made in the USA. It's all made in the USA.
You mentioned earlier my list.
Look, I don't know who he's blocking from, because that's what you do when you're like, X-nay on the aardvark A. You do, but I don't know who he's, because it's a secret. Secret.
I was a little surprised.
That's what it tastes like, Jana. Green Apple Zima. Yes, everybody used to do that. We all used to put, this'll date me, back when nobody would. We used to put Jolly Ranchers or candy in the Zima to turn it into whatever. And then I was at Grocery Outlet, the greatest store. We call it Gross Out. And they had Green Apple Zima. And it was 25 cents a piece per bottle. So I bought one bottle and I took it home. I don't even drink, but the Green Apple Zima tastes exactly like Jolly Ranchers. I went back and I bought a lot. I don't remember that year. Anyway.
I'm not going to lie. They had predicted for May 9.5 million jobs lost. We ended up gaining 2.5 million.
Almost 3.
We had the largest retail sales month.
I predicted jobs would come back because you were reopening the economy and you had PPP.
I don't know if you all saw the numbers. 18%. That's a record. So here's my list.
And we had a pretty good number come out today on jobs, too.
Yeah, well, I didn't see today's number.
Also better than projected, but more importantly, so we have more cases because we do the greatest test.
The job numbers today, what do you call them? Good job numbers?
I don't know if you all saw the numbers. 18%. That's a
retail.
record. So here's my list.
And we had
18% increase in retail sales. Yes, if you have a Gap store and you close it for a week and then you open it, sales are going to be up over the previous week. Ding! See, that's correct. Apparently I'm correct.
pretty good number come out today on jobs.
Pretty good number on jobs. 1.5 million people filed for unemployment. That's 14 weeks in a row that over 1 million people filed for unemployment. Before COVID, we've never had 1 million people file for unemployment in a week. 1.5 million people, 1.5 million Americans lost their jobs and filed for unemployment. Pretty good numbers.
Jobs too.
Yeah, well, I didn't see today's number.
Also better than projected, but more importantly,
I'm everyone's father.
so we have more cases because we do the greatest testing. If we didn't do testing, we'd have no cases.
There it is right there. That he should not be in office for saying idiocy like that. You have the cases, whether you test or not. The cases are there. You just don't know that they're there. And you end up with 120,000 people dead because you're not finding the cases.
Other countries, they don't test millions, so up to almost 30 million tests. So when you do 30 million, you're going to have a kid with the sniffles, and they'll say it's coronavirus, whatever you want to call it. I said the other night,
If he has coronavirus, I want to call it coronavirus.
there are so many names to this. I could name 19 names, like Corona 19, but I could name 19 names. But the fact is that
All right, I'm not going to put nuts in my mouth on camera. That's what I did in my 20s, but I'm not proud, but I needed the money.
there's never been a thing like this. We've done 30 million, almost. We'll be there probably today or tomorrow. 30 million tests. Now, when you do tests, you have cases. But what they don't say is there are fewer deaths than there have been, way, way down. And our mortality rate is among the best countries in the world, meaning people that die. Because a lot
Our mortality rate is nowhere near the best countries in the world. And yes, mortality means people that die. There's also a certain level of per capita in it. 5 of the 7 per capitas.
of these tests, it's a case, it's a kid doesn't even know. In some cases, it's people that didn't even know they were sick. Maybe they weren't, but it shows up in a test. So they'll say 30 million tests. Now you have a big percentage of that, but other countries do very few tests. So it shows they have very few cases. And sometimes I jokingly say, or sarcastically say, if we didn't do
Other countries do millions of tests.
tests, we'd look great.
Where
But
are
you know
we-
what? It's
What? Is it
30 million
sarcastically?
tests. Now you have a big percentage of that, but other countries do very few tests. So it shows they have very few cases. And sometimes I jokingly say, or sarcastically say, if we didn't do tests,
I don't kid. I don't kid. But sometimes I jokingly or sarcastically say,
up in a test. So they'll say 30 million tests. Now you have a big percentage of that, but other countries do very few tests. So it shows they have very few cases. And sometimes I jokingly say, or sarcastically say, if we didn't do tests, we'd look great.
Where
But
are
you know
we-
what? It's not the right thing to do.
Treatment, vaccine. Where are we?
So I think the vaccines are coming along great, and I think what they call therapeutics are coming along great. And I think we're going to have an answer very soon indeed. I think it will be even before the end of the year, we'll have a vaccine. We have great companies, and we're totally mobilized. You know, military is doing it. We're ready to go. As soon as they have it, we will be distributing that all over the country.
Let me go. You talked about my list earlier. So Joe Biden was vice president for 8 years. He has a record that at some point, I assume somebody might have to ask him, or maybe.
he doesn't have a record. He's vice president. They only vote that a vice president does is if the Senate is tied. I don't even know if Biden cast a vote in the Senate. Maybe 1, maybe 2. It's very, very rare because the Senate wasn't tied 50-50 usually. Somebody can fact check that if you want to. David Mickelson of Snopes says positive tests don't count if you didn't know you were sick. That is a fact check right there from Snopes. So I'm going to wait until I hear from Snoops on that one before I trust it.
Maybe you will when you debate him if he shows up, which is a question we'll find out in the future. But 13 million more Americans after 8 years were on food stamps, 8 million more in poverty, the lowest labor participation rate since the 70s. Right. Worst recovery since the 40s, lowest home ownership rate in 15 years. Now I look at your record. Pre-coronavirus, we had...
So everything since coronavirus doesn't count? Is that what's going on in Hannity's head?
Record after record low unemployment with African Americans.
Not every. We did not have record low unemployment. Only in certain groups, and groups that were not even kept track of until the 70s.
Hispanic Americans, you know the list. Even African-American youth unemployment. And I want to get to the issue because it seems like if we look and compare and contrast, historically black colleges, a 5-year commitment with more money than ever before, opportunity.
Previously, it was a 10-year commitment that was signed in 2010. It expired in 2019 because it's 10 years. Trump signed it again for 5 years and bragging about how he made it permanent.
Zones. I think one of the biggest changes is criminal justice reform.
Well, the biggest thing, criminal justice reform. Obama and Biden never even tried it. And that was something so important for the black community.
Completely untrue. The Senate kept blocking them on it. They couldn't pass it because of the Senate, starting in 2010.
They came to me. They wanted it so badly because it's a very unfair situation. And they came.
So unfair to minorities.
Especially minorities, and especially black and Hispanic. It's so unfair. And I said, why wasn't this done before? Now, Obama didn't try. If he did, he may come out and say, we did try, but, you know.
So he just says, Obama didn't try. If he did, he may come out and say that he did. But, like, you just have no idea. You have no clue whatsoever, and you're just going to say it. Trump is wearing diapers. Actually, I'm pretty sure there's physical evidence if you look at the pictures. Anyway.
No, he didn't get it done. I got it done. People said you wouldn't be able to get it done. I got it done with the help of some very good Republicans that, frankly, they could have...
Thank you to fact checker at random. Biden cast exactly 0 tie-breaking votes as VP. Biden does not have a record as vice president. That's what vice presidents do. Oh, they're also the head of task force for coronavirus for some reason, because they're doctors.
Gone either way on it, to be honest. Although we had some very strong conservative Republicans, like Mike Lee, Republicans that wanted it very much. Chuck Grassley, some great, strong conservative Republicans that wanted it very much. So it, is both ways. Very unusual. You had some very strong conservatives, and you also had some really, really liberal people. But we did criminal justice reform. Nobody thought it was possible to get it done. I got it done. They couldn't get it done. And then they'll say such horrible things. I mean, on the campaign, they'll say such horrible things about me. It's a very unfair business. But the ad he did this morning, it's a great ad for them. I got beaten by China. Wrong. I beat China very badly.
Wait,
I didn't do this. A coronavirus.
I might take Joe's side, though, because I don't think your son got $1.5 billion.
That's right. That's right. It's a way of looking at
it. To invest, because Biden's son is part of a competent company. China didn't give $1.5 billion to Eric and Dawn, and there's reasons for that.
And nobody's ever seen anything like that. But what they'll do is they'll take 5 or 6 points and just say I lost. And if you look at what we've done on ventilators, on testing, again, where we have 30 million, Germany is second with maybe 4, maybe.
David points out Obama passed a secret crime bill. Nobody's heard of it. That's absolutely true. In fact, I was put on double secret probation because of it. So careful.
5 million? So Germany's going to show fewer cases because they're testing far fewer people, different sized countries and all, but they're testing far fewer people. But many countries don't do testing like that. So it shows we're way up in testing. But what it also shows by doing
what did you just say?
So Germany's going to show fewer cases because they're testing far fewer people, different.
They have a much lower population, and they started testing right away.
Size countries and all, but they're testing far fewer.
Okay, what? Let's go back here. Sorry.
Because I don't think your son got $1.5 billion.
I got distractified of thinking of Trump's crush on Obama.
That's right. That's right. It's a way of looking at it, I'll tell you. Now, nobody's ever seen anything like that. But what they'll do is they'll take 5 or 6 points and just say a loss. And if you look at what we've done on ventilators, on testing, again, where we have 30 million, Germany is second with maybe 4.
No, Germany is not second. We might be second. China doesn't report its numbers, and we know that China did 11 million tests in 3 days when they retested everybody in Wuhan. And let me explain how you do that. China's brilliant in a lot of things, including anytime it comes to this guy right here. This is the way that China tested Wuhan the second time. Everybody got tested. What they did is they took the swabs and they would put you in a group of 25 other people. All the mixtures goes together. That reagent goes into the machine. They test that. If it shows positive, that means that 1 out of those 25 people has corona. If it doesn't, all those 25 people are good. So they're able to test 25 people at once. If it shows positive, they take the 25 individual ones and then they test the individual ones. They don't waste all the time testing every single individual vial because they don't think there's that many cases out there. And as it turns out, they were right. There weren't that many cases out there, but they found the ones that were. We're not doing that. I'm in Washington State, a hotspot that started this whole thing. I still can't get tested.
Maybe 5 million. So
Maybe
Germany's going to show fewer cases because they're.
Oh yeah, and even if we don't have China, hold on. I'm going to show you guys this screen right here. Give me a second, and boom. So Germany's down here behind my head. No, that's India. Okay, so I thought Germany was third. They're now fourth. So Russia is second with 17.8 million, so almost 18 million. India, Italy, Turkey, Iran, etc., etc. Germany's on here with somewhere in there. Anyway, Germany actually might be fifth. They're not second. And if you include China, they're sixth. Everything. He gets everything wrong for no good reason. Like what? What is the point of bragging about this?
Testing far fewer people, different sized countries and all, but they're testing far fewer people. But many countries don't do testing like that. So it shows we're way up in testing. But what it also shows, by doing that, in all fairness, it shows a very, very low mortality rate, just about the lowest. So we're right at the bottom.
No!
In a positive way. And I think that people are starting to see it. But
we have 125,000 Americans dead. Our mortality rate, the last time I looked a couple of days ago, was 25.8 per 100,000. It's ridiculous.
I don't do a show like this, which is live or semi-live. If I don't do a show like
David's comment, does he understand that the point of testing is to identify cases and help stop the spread of the virus? David, all you have to do is say the first 3 words, and the answer is hell no. Does he understand? Whatever it is, hell no.
It will be, we're not going to get the word out because the press is really corrupt and dishonest. I can't believe it. I used to say, fake news, fake news. It's much worse than fake news. And it's not only what they say, it's what they don't say.
Yeah.
Something great could be happening, and they refuse to report it.
You mentioned General Flynn. We saw Peter Strzok's notes. Now, a lot of it was redacted, my sources have been telling me. And this program,
big stuff.
I've devoted almost 3 years to unpeeling every layer of the onion. In fact, what we now know is that there was that January 5th meeting in the Oval Office. Barack Obama was there. Joe Biden was there. Barack said he wants only our people on this. In other words, the day before General Flynn was exonerated, the case was going to be closed. Then Joe Biden brought up the Logan Act, which you mentioned earlier, 1799 law nobody's ever been prosecuted for.
Nobody's ever been convicted of it, not prosecuted.
Now, not only was it that, we've now learned that there was premeditated fraud on a FISA court to spy on you as a candidate, you and your
Incorrect. It was to spy. There was fraud, and Kevin, one of the bad Kevins, not McAllister, Kevin, moving on. I'll think of it at 3 o'clock tonight and tell you guys. there was a lawyer for the FBI who falsified information or omitted some information, because, you know, you hate people who omit information, Sean, for the FISA application for Carter Page in October. Carter Page, who had been fired by the Trump campaign in September. I know I'm backwards for you guys, so I should have done it this way because left to right. But Carter Page was not working for the Trump campaign. They were not spying on the Trump campaign, and there was no reason to spy on the Trump campaign because they had already been investigating the Trump campaign for months, because George Papadopoulos got drunk and bragged to an Australian diplomat that they were digging into dirt on Hillary with Russia. But the FISA warrants was not the Trump campaign.
Transition team.
It's unbelievable.
And deep.
While I'm on a roll here, let's take a look at the mortality rate. I don't want you guys to believe me. I want you to make me prove myself, or you can look this stuff up yourself. Here's the mortality rate. So Trump just said we have one of the lowest in the world. So this is per 100,000 population. So we've got to be down here somewhere. The Maldives, Iceland, 2.83. We're probably down here with that. Hold on, I'll find us, guys. We must be. And no, that's in the upper spectrum there. So let's just stay down at the bottom here. Jordan, 0.09. Benin, Zimbabwe, 0.04. Zimbabwe, wow. There's a story there. Mozambique, 0.02. Africa has not been hit as hard as I thought it would be. Fingers crossed. Sri Lanka, Nepal. We got to be down here somewhere. You got to be. I don't know. I mean, it's not like we're going to be up. Okay, so there's the U.S. But that's one of the lowest because it's like golf, right? You want to... I'm sorry, but how can you be a Republican anymore? How can you report? How can you not report this guy? Unless you're Jim Jordan and reporting's not your thing. Moving on.
Into your presidency, and James Comey signed 3 of the 4 warrants, but he came to you after he signed the first one in Trump Tower and said, well, again, now we know the bulk of information was Hillary's dirty Russian disinformation dossier.
Very important here. This is Hannity's tell. He always says the bulk of the information, not the main source of information, not the biggest part of the information, but the bulk. And what that means, you're able to say the bulk and be not dishonest, disingenuous at best, because the reason you can say bulk and get away from it is because there were many documents, but the dossier, which was a series of files, that's what dossier means, was about 32 pages long. So you had about that much paper. So the bulk, even though there were many other things that went with it, the bulk, so they make it sound like that was the whole thing. It was not.
You paid a lot of money for it.
Let's go back, and I just want to make sure he said bulk.
And James Comey signed 3 of the 4 warrants, but he came to you after he signed the first one in Trump Tower and said, well, again, now we know the bulk of information was Hillary's dirty Russian disinformation dossier.
She paid a lot of money for it.
She paid for it. They knew it. They said they had verified it. It
was actually pretty cheap.
Turned out to be all untrue. But it ended up for you to be, and the country, a 3-year nightmare. My question, though, is this. I mean,
the country's gone through a 3-year nightmare without the Russia hoax.
General Flynn lost 4 years of his life.
Right.
Roger Stone's supposed to report to jail, and the jury foreperson in his case. Paul Manafort's case was dead. And many people that work for you paid how much in lawyers' fees over this lie?
So start in reverse order. Paul Manafort, they sent in a book. It looked like he got all sorts of cash. It turned out to be a fraud. What they did to that man.
Committed fraud on the American people, defrauded the American people, that's me, out of millions of dollars, was found guilty on all counts because there was a paper trail. Really easy to get found guilty when there's a paper trail behind it.
What they did to Paul Manafort, Roger Stone, what they've done to Roger Stone, because he knew me. He wasn't on the campaign except the very, very beginning. What they did with Roger Stone, what they did to
No, he wasn't on the campaign, but he was aiding the campaign. And we know because they just released more of the redacted, the unredacted part of the Mueller report. And in there, even Manafort was saying, like, yeah, We could hear Roger Stone talking on the phone with Trump, and they were discussing WikiLeaks, and Trump was well aware that WikiLeaks was going to release information on Hillary, which they have denied this whole time. Now we know it's true, and it's also backed up by Bolton's book, Don't Buy It.
General Flynn. And how about Papadopoulos? I didn't know Papadopoulos, but what they put him through, he turned out to be total. They had a tape of his conversation that was supposed to be, his conversation was like a perfect conversation.
Is he just making that up? Is there a tape of the Papadopoulos conversation?
They also have a tape of Flynn's conversation with the Russian ambassador, which is a normal thing to do. You're going to have that position. You start calling up because you want to coordinate between countries. And
yeah, but you don't go against the interests of the current president. You're not president until you're president. And going against the president is a violation of the Logan Act.
The tape was up, as you said, with with the Ukrainian situation. It was a perfect tape. It was a perfect conversation that he had. What they've done to General Flynn, who's a nice man, tough guy, smart guy, a great general. I'll tell you, General Miller.
He's not that smart. If he was the director of Defense Intelligence at some point, which he was fired by Obama. If he was that smart, he would know that you're not supposed to lie to the FBI. And he would know that the conversations with Sergei Kislyak, the Russian ambassador, were being taped. And yet he still lied to the FBI. I mean, that's undeniable. And he pled guilty to it.
He said he's one of the finest people. You know, he's just a good man, Flynn. What happened to him, the way they went after him. And if you remember well, the FBI left, they said he did nothing wrong. They said he didn't lie. They didn't.
That's not what they said. They said he did not have the physical appearance of lying because he wasn't sweating, he wasn't chattering, he wasn't touching his nose a lot. All the triggers that you hear people who are lying do to themselves, he wasn't displaying any of those. So the FBI said it didn't look like he was lying, but very clearly he's lying. I mean, you have the facts. He's a good liar. That's all that means. The FBI never said that Flynn did not lie. Flynn admitted he lied. Flynn admitted that he tried to sabotage an Egyptian deal at the United Nations. Flynn admitted, etc., etc. Oh, that he was working for Turkey and didn't report it. Flynn admitted that he had these conversations with Kislyak and then talked to and got agreement from the upper echelon of the Trump campaign, but we don't know who. Was that Pence? Was that somebody else? Was that Trump?
They said he didn't lie. They persecuted him.
They threatened to put his son and go after his son.
They said to me, what was the toughest, friends of mine, what's the toughest country to deal with? Who is it? Is it China? Is it Russia? Could it be North Korea? I said, no, it's the United States of America, the toughest country to deal with, because we have Schumer and Pelosi and people that are bad people that I honestly believe don't love our country. What they do to our country and what they've done with this scam, the whole scam, Flynn is a piece of it, the Mueller scam.
Flynn is a piece of it.
Now it came out that Mueller should have announced in the first week that we did nothing wrong. In other words, they had evidence in the first few days that there was no collusion with Russia.
Nope.
There was nothing to do with Russia.
Nope. First off, look on page 2. Mueller never investigated collusion. Collusion is not a crime. There are over 100 examples of collusion with meetings between Trump and Russia, including Manafort giving Russia information on polling.
They knew that immediately. He didn't have to take 2 or 2.5 years. They knew it immediately. What they've put this country through, Jeff Sessions was a disaster. He was a total disaster because he basically let it happen unknowingly because he's not very smart. But
so I hired him as AG, even though he's not very smart, and he's a disaster. So that's kind of on me.
But they let it happen, and it's a shame what they put this country through.
Mm-hmm. As you look, we now have a Durham report. We now have the Inspector General report. I would imagine there's probably going to be indictments at the end of this. When you look at the names of the people, for example, the jury foreperson in Roger Stone's case was prejudiced against. That was not a fair and
can you believe
jury.
It even? Can you believe it? The hatred that she had for him and for me.
And you?
And she said, oh, no, I don't know. You know, she acted like she was an innocent. She ran for Congress or something and lost, but she was like pretending to be an innocent. How did she even get into the jury pool? She must have had a little contact. And the judge,
Well, I mean, the people defending Stone, the lawyers, could have stopped her from being in a jury pool, but you're allowed to have political opinions and serve your country by being on a jury. That's okay.
Who's been brutal. The judge who sentenced Roger has been brutal. Take a look at what she's done to people.
Same judge in the Manafort case.
Well, take a look at what she did for Hillary-related things, okay? Wasn't brutal there, but look at what she did to people. Just take a look at what she's done. And Roger Stone had a jury
Every time he says take a look at, if you look at it, there's nothing there.
foreman for a woman who was a disaster. How that's not declared a mistrial or more than a mistrial is incredible to anybody that sees it.
There was a Trump supporter on the jury, and the Trump supporter went out of their way to say, no, the forewoman was absolutely above board. In fact, she was pushing me not to just say to go along to get along. And I still voted to convict Stone because he was guilty. Is that 7 times?
This is a person that hated Roger Stone, hated me, and obviously said wonderful things. Otherwise, she couldn't have gone and...
It looks like he reports
So only 20% of the country can serve on a jury because all the rest of us hate Trump?
to jail, I believe, in 4 days.
Yeah.
Are you thinking about a pardon for any of them?
We're going to see. I don't want to get into
Commutation?
that, but I think he was treated very unfairly.
Clearly.
You know, other than he may have been involved very early on, and I've known him for a long time, but I've known him like everybody in Washington knew him. You have a lot of guys in Washington, they do.
They have a lot of guys in Washington. They do.
Not involved in the campaign. Maybe a little bit at the very, very beginning, but he wasn't involved. He wasn't a part of the campaign. But he's a professional. They've destroyed his life, totally destroyed his life. What they've done to Roger Stone is incredible. And the jury forewoman stands out. And to have at least not give him a new trial is inconceivable. And by the way, she was a dominant
It's sad that he can't conceive of that because that's the reality.
person. The juror said she was very dominating in the room. She dominated. He got a tremendously big sentence. You see these guys, they're burning down buildings, they're
Juries don't give out a sentence, by the way. That's the judge.
ripping down statues, they're hurting police. They don't go to jail. Nothing happens to them. They wanted to give him 9 years in jail.
Process crime.
Yeah, if that.
A process crime is a crime. That's what it is. That's why it's called process crime. Law and order.
If that. And then you have these
Process crime, and Trump says, if that. Yes, it was that.
prosecutors who were Mueller-related, the whole Mueller-related thing. One friend said to me, you have to be the most innocent man in the history of the United States. I had 18 angry Democrat geniuses, all smart as hell.
If they're so smart, you should have made one of them AG.
Mueller lost it, but they were all smart as hell. All these guys were after me. They spent 45, 49, 55, I hear all different numbers, $1 million over a period of
24.
2.5 years. And they got nothing on me.
It was
I
all-
think I am a friend of mine said, you have to be the most perfect person.
They had everybody.
They've been investigating Hillary for 40 years. You're not the most perfect person.
Phil?
We'll take a break. We'll come back as we continue from Great Green Bay, Wisconsin. Also, the president will be answering your questions as we continue.
Oh, they're going to actually try and make this a town hall. So I actually heard this question before. This is exactly what you would expect from a Trump town hall.
This country, and I know it's
Dear leader, dear leader.
Wausau, Wisconsin.
Thank you for being here with us today. Say hello to President
Wausau
Trump.
window.
My Cuban background.
Good.
I have a question for you. I appreciate so much what you have done for this country, and I know it's been tough. What do you think is your greatest accomplishment in your...
The really hard-hitting questions come at the town halls. Yeah, like at a Biden town hall, someone's going to stand up and they're going to say, Back in 19 you were against school busing, or you were for school busing, or whatever the appropriate hard-hitting question happens to be. Why should we support you when clearly you didn't think... And then this one. What's the greatest thing you've ever done?
Eyes.
So a lot of
Andy, go to sleep. It's 5 a.m., for God's sake. You go sleeps. Go.
people think it's the fact that we will have, I think before I'm finished this term, we'll have close to 300 judges, federal judges. A lot of people think, because that's a record, that's a number that nobody can even believe. And part of it was
I believe it. Anybody else? It's 300 judges.
that President Obama was unable to get judges approved in a large number, about 142 judges. So I took it off, got them approved, and then got a lot approved beyond. So we'll be close to 302 Supreme Court judges, great ones. And so I think a lot of people would say that. I think one of them, though, is our military. We have Space Force, which we've added after 76 years. We've added a new branch of the military. It's a big deal, a very important deal, because space is going to be very important. It already is. I would say the rebuilding of the military and the taking care of our vets. We had a 91% Sean approval rating the other day. The VA. The VA was a disaster. All of my life, I've seen these horror stories. I don't want to really jinx it, because they'll go around, find somebody that's unhappy. But you don't see that anymore. And our administrator, our secretary, has done a fantastic job. And we're at 91% approval rating with the VA. And we got Veterans Choice approved. And
Veterans Choice was approved in 2014. Thank you, Obama. Rich, watch some Space Force. We gave up on it. It should be a lot better than it is. It's very disappointing. But however you feel about that first episode, if you like it, then go get it. But yeah, we kept hoping it would get better, and it did not. It was wow. If you have Apple TV, watch The Morning Show, because that's actually very good, and Steve Carell is fantastic in it.
Veterans accountability, that's where you can fire people that do a bad job. You couldn't do it before. Very hard to get. They tried to get it for 50 years. Because of civil service unions, et cetera, you couldn't, get it. I got it.
Obama got it 2014.
And the other thing is Veterans Choice, where if they can't see a doctor, we have great doctors in the VA, but if you...
Obama 2014. Let's just skip this part. It's like, shut the hell up.
Than anybody thought possible.
No.
So we've done a lot of things. But,
I don't even know what he said.
It could be judges,
Fact
could
check.
be the military.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Two questions. Question I get asked most often. I said about
I thought this was a town hall. Now Hannity's just going to follow up.
the people that love and support you. They want to know why you fight so hard with the media. Why do you fight against them? Why do you you take on anybody that goes on? And you answered this interestingly in the Martha and Brett town hall. And for those that say, well, maybe you shouldn't fight on all these issues, what do you say to them?
I don't think I have a choice. If I didn't take on the media, I guarantee I wouldn't be here with you tonight. I'd be watching on television. Maybe I'd be in
Because Obama didn't do to the media what you do to the media, and he stayed there. He got elected twice.
the crowd. But I'd be watching. I wouldn't be interviewed. You couldn't win. And I have it even to this day. I mean, the New York Times is so dishonest. The Washington Post is so dishonest. They write things.
Well, Lizzie, who used to be in the Navy, said Veterans Choice is not as good as people think it is. Took me 4 months just to submit a lab test. Lizzie, you need to drink more water.
You can do something great, and they can make it sound horrible. You can do something good, and they can make it sound beyond belief bad, like it's the worst thing ever. And I said it a little bit before, you can do something great, and it doesn't get reported. That's, in a way, just as bad, because a lot of people can figure it out. The level of dishonesty in the media is, I think they're the most dishonest people I've ever dealt with. Now, not everybody. You're an honest journalist. You're a great journalist. You know, we have great
Hannity has admitted before he's not a journalist. He's an entertainer.
Look at the Pulitzer Prize. The Pulitzer Prize is very embarrassed. It's lost a lot of its credibility because all these writers got
If anyone in the Pulitzer Prize committee is watching and isn't in the chat room, please come into the chat room and tell us exactly how embarrassed you are.
Pulitzer Prizes on the Russia, and they were all wrong. But John Solomon and all of the people that you deal with, and you, by the way, Laura, Lou Dobbs, Your Fox and Friends people that are great group in the morning, including the weekends.
Ainsley on Fox and Friends is not a journalist, but I did just find out that she's dating Sean Hannity. Sorry, I better turn myself off camera for that.
Be honest with Pete.
Oh, God.
But you have some great people. But they got Pulitzer Prizes on Russia, and they were wrong. Now, the committee should
We were right on the deep state. They were wrong.
No, you were right
for 3 years. They were wrong for 3 years.
You were right on Ukraine. The Ukraine thing was a hoax. It was a pure hoax. They took think of it. They impeached a duly elected president of the United States.
That's exactly how impeachment works.
On a perfect conversation. Actually, there were two conversations. The first one was hello, goodbye. They don't even talk about that. The second.
Because you didn't commit a perjure.
Second one was about the same thing. They impeached a president of the United States. Now, in all fairness, the Republican Party was great.
I don't have 10 commandments, Dr. Lisa. I have one golden question that you should always ask yourself before you make an important decision in life. Who knows what it is?
Because they got 196 to nothing Republican votes in the House, and 52 and a half to a half Romney. Too bad. But he half of, I call it 52 and a half to a half because he had two votes. One was yes. But
yes,
we did.
Yeah, we
got
great. That.
The Republican Party was great. But they were steadfast because they knew it was a hoax. It was purely.
At random, tell us the golden question. What's the golden question? You should ask yourself this question. This is just my kind of guide to life. My advice to you, ask yourself the golden question before you make any major decision, even minor decisions, but start with the major ones and work your way down. What is that question, at random?
A party line.
Thank you. How will this affect Kevin? And if that answers if you can answer that affirmatively, that it will affect me positively, do it. And that's the golden question.
Impeachment. Nothing like that's ever happened before.
To add to that, they had to ignore Joe on tape saying you're not getting the billion unless you fire the prosecutor investigating my zero experienced son making millions. But with that said,
they were not investigating his zero experienced son getting millions, and he was doing what the president asked him to do, and the IMF, etc. Everybody was in favor of this, to get rid of the corrupt prosecutor. Before, we didn't give them money. It wasn't money. It was a loan guarantee from the International Monetary Fund. All of that being said, Trump asked Ukraine to help him attack a political opponent in returns. I'm done. We've been going at this. Let's see. This is hour number 17. Let's move on.
Jim is with us from...
What is that? That is two human beings put together. That is the bottom half of Santa after a shave. And this is Fraser Crane the last 3 years of the show. That is a composite of a human being. And that's good because, social distancing, you don't want to have real people in there, obviously.
Beautiful Wisconsin. Hey, Jim.
Thank you, Sean. Mr. President, welcome to Green Bay, Wisconsin and Northeast Wisconsin.
Thank you.
Great to have you with us. My question for you is, with all the unrest we've seen across the country, and right here in the state of Wisconsin last night in our capital city.
Yes.
Since you're the president, why aren't you responsible for it? I'm sure that's what he's going to say here, because, that makes sense.
A senator was beaten. Lady Forward was ripped off her pedestal. We lost some other statues. What steps is the administration taking to give us back our streets?
So, very strong. You happen to have a Democrat governor right now. If you would have had Governor Walker, that wouldn't have happened.
That's right.
Wouldn't have happened. I'm not saying it. If Scott were your governor, that would not have happened. But it did happen, and it was a shame.
And yet statues are being torn down across the country in Republican states as well.
And the person they beat up was a Democrat who happened to be gay. And he was probably...
I got to order some fried cheese curds. There's a story behind that, but I'll tell you later. You know what? I'm not even going to tell you.
Out there rooting them on or something. Because Democrats think it's wonderful that they're destroying our country. It's a very sick thing going on. Nobody's ever seen it. Biden is going to be... Look, I don't think Biden's a radical left, but it doesn't matter because they're going to just do whatever they want to do.
Oh, hold on. Save that. I don't think Biden is the radical left. He just said it. And the rest of this campaign, he's going to be attacking him as a socialist.
Take him over. He can't perform. He's not going to be able to perform. He's shot. He's shot. Whether you like it or not, he's shot. The radical left is going to take him over. Look what happened. Eliot Engel was a pretty mainline guy. He lost by like 37 points or so. He just got killed in the election we just had yesterday. He was supposed to be a shoo-in, and he got hit by a strong far-left candidate. You have a couple of other congressmen and women that probably are going to lose or...
Yeah, I saw a question on this. Yeah, a Wisconsin senator was attacked, or at least he claimed to be attacked. Over here, let's see, Wisconsin state senator attacked by protesters as demonstrations in Madison, Wisconsin, turned violent. It was Tim Cartner, state senator. He's a Democrat from Milwaukee. I don't know what happened. All I did was stop and take a picture, and the next thing I'm getting 5, 6 punches, getting kicked in the head, said Carpenter, who is 60 years old. Yeah, so not good. Not good at all.
Are going to lose very close, too close to call. Look at what's happened to the Democrats. And these are real lefties. These are people that take a look at Venezuela. Venezuela was a very rich country, a great country, a beacon 20 years ago.
This is the talking point of the Republicans, by the way. This was the talking point before coronavirus. It's a distraction now, but they're going to hammer on the socialism. They're going to hammer on school choice because the Democrats are against school choice because we have a public school system. We should just improve that. But anyway, this is one of their buzzwords is Venezuela. In fact, we're just going to skip by the Venezuela part. I don't care what he says about Venezuela. It's nonsense.
You'll see. If anyone attacks, I stopped it the other night. I stopped it a number of times. But you'll see what's happening. And we told them, every night we're going to get tougher and tougher. And at some point there's going to be retribution because there has to be. These people are vandals, but they're agitators.
The government is going to take retribution on the people? I really hope he doesn't know what retribution means.
But they're terrorists in a sense. So I think you'll be extremely impressed. But you have to put pressure also. I love the Republicans. I told you they came for me 100%. I'm at 96% approval rating in the Republican Party. But I said, you're going to have to get tougher. You can't be politically correct anymore because we're really fighting something that's very dangerous. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. President.
Let's talk about a second term. If you hear in 131 days from now, at some point in the night or early morning, we can now project on.
Yeah, it turns out there's going to be. I just saw Chris's comment. Did someone spray paint him in the eye with spray paint, though? If you were watching the broadcast the other day, the Corona Bowl 2 from Phoenix, there was a young man, and we actually found the video of him being spray painted in the eye, where someone was spray painting a wall, and he's standing up against the wall, and she's spray painting, and he's like, "Oh yeah, smells great," and he sniffs into the spray paint, and she just kind of like. And he got spray painted in the eye and then went to the rally. And I was spray painted in the eye. So, yeah, the senator was out there for a drive. He got out. He was taking a picture. And then someone was holding up a protest sign. And he ran into the guy's... Oh, yeah. Why am I hitting myself? Why am I hitting myself? Why am I hitting myself?
Donald J. Trump has been reelected the 45th president of the United States. Let's talk. What's at stake in this election as you compare and contrast? And what are your top priority items for a second term?
Well, one of the things that will be really great, you know, the word experience is still good. I always say talent is more important than experience. I've always said that. But the word experience is a very...
And you'd be wrong.
Very important word. It's in a very important meaning. I never did this before. I never slept over in Washington. I was in Washington, I think, 17 times. All of a sudden, I'm president of the United States. You know the story. I'm riding down Pennsylvania Avenue with our First Lady, and I say, this is great. But I didn't know very many people.
What a great story. Let's go back. I want to hear that whole story again, because the ramp one lasted for 15 minutes. Listen to this story. Kids, I know some of you, it's late. You're on the East Coast. Maybe it's 5 a.m. Andy, and if you're a little bit tired, here's your bedtime story.
Meeting.
Yeah.
I never did this before. I never slept over in Washington. I was in Washington, I think, 17 times. All of a sudden, I'm president of the United States. You know the story. I'm riding down Pennsylvania Avenue with our First Lady, and I say, This is great. But I
Wow, what an awesome... Tell it again. Oh, sorry, I don't want to wake anybody up. I'll talk quietly. Lullaby.
didn't know very many people in Washington. It wasn't my thing. I was from Manhattan, from New York. Now I know everybody. And I have great people in the administration. You make some mistakes, like, you know, in
Wait a minute, what is going on here in
Pennsylvania
the background?
Avenue with our First Lady, and I say,
Yeah.
this
Here's
is great.
Sturgeon.
But I didn't know very many
This is
people in
great.
Washington. It wasn't my thing. I was from Manhattan, from New York. Now I know.
What? Look at this. Where is that person holding that button? It looks like they're using it as a cup. That is a strange... Who holds... Because the arms are down. I can't... Like, are they holding it up like... No, because their arms are... Where are they holding that button? That's really hard-hitting journalism, and that's what you pay for.
Everybody. And I have great people in the administration. You make some mistakes, like, you know, an idiot like Bolton, all he wanted to do is drop bombs on everybody. You don't have to drop bombs on everybody. You don't have to kill people.
So I hired him to be my national security advisor.
If John Bolton, in fact, released classified material, should he be prosecuted?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Well, he did release classified. Actually, he had a judge said that they released the book early, so he couldn't do it. He said,
he
hey,
couldn't stop
but
it.
he said,
Okay, so Jana thought that too about the button. I'm not the only one who's disturbed.
this is very dangerous what you've done for yourself. And also, any money that you made, it's, you know, good luck. This was a very powerful opinion that we had. No, he's sort of a sick guy. There's something wrong with him.
Very powerful opinion that they lost. And the judge said in the opinion, there is no proof that this will do irreparable damage to the United States security. So,
But I noticed that earlier. He made two very bad mistakes.
did I just say irreparable? There's nothing I can do to fix that.
Made a mistake where he talked about the Libyan model. And I won't go to explain that, but some of you understand. He was on Deface the Nation, and he talked about the Libyan model. I said, that's a disaster, because you know why. And the other thing, he said going into Iraq was a good thing. I said, okay, John, but now you know it wasn't, right? No, I still think it was. I said, so we're in for $8 trillion in the Middle East, and you think that was a good thing. And I'm pulling out. You know, I'm getting everybody out nice and easy. Everyone's going nicely.
Never pulls out at the right time.
Going nicely. You think it was good to go into Iraq, go into the Middle East? Yes. So those two things happened early in his little period of time. He was only there a short while. Once he said...
He was there for 18 months. He claims that story was after 1 month, so he kept them there for another 17 months.
Those two things, I no longer paid much attention to him, if any. But I'll tell you, he was good for one thing.
Happened after a month, so for 17 months, the president no longer paid attention to the guy he hired to be his national security advisor.
Everyone thought he was crazy, because all he wants to do is bomb people. You know, he'll fight Russia. Let's fight Russia. Let's fight China. Let's take them on at the same time. He's crazy. When I walked into a room with him, I knew that. When they saw Bolton, they always gave me what I wanted, because they said, Trump's going to drop bombs on me. He's got this maniac with him. So in a way, he helped me in terms of a negotiation. But seriously, he didn't do a good job. He wasn't smart. He wasn't sharp. And he's the only man I think I've ever met. I knew him for a year, 1 year, whatever the time. It was a short time. I don't think I ever saw him smile once. I said,
Year and a half.
to him once, John, do you ever smile? And it tells you something about somebody.
You can't see him smile through that mustache.
You still beat back the caliphate. You got Baghdadi and Associates. You got Soleimani. You got...
Okay, let's go back, and I wanted to point this out. This is from Daniel Dale of CNN, the fact checker there, and he summed this up perfectly. Let's go back to where he's asked the question. If you remember the question, what are your top priorities for the second term, Mr. President? He did not name any priorities. His 3 points were, 1, talent is more important than experience. 2, he hasn't been to D.C. much before he won, but now he knows everybody. Also, there was that story in there. And 3, he has great people in his administration, though Biden is an idiot. That's from Daniel Dale of CNN. The question, what are your top priorities for the second term?
The Al-Qaeda leader in Yemen.
We've done a lot.
So back...
We took out Soleimani, #1 terrorist in the world. We took out al-Baghdadi. He was also considered #1. I guess they fought for #1. I got them both. Obama should have gotten
Hey, there's a retracted message. Jana, what did you say that I don't even know what a retracted message is. Just looking at the YouTube feed here. Guys, if you're watching and you're not chatting, that's fine. You're welcome to do that. If you want to chat, the best place to chat is on youtube.com/KevinLeeFather. On a PC, it's great, or a Mac. On your phone, it's much more difficult. But if you have a PC or a Mac, you have access to that. I know a lot of people are watching that don't chat. And again, no pressure to chat, but there's a lot going on in the chat room that you might want to be involved in. And honestly, I like to hear diverse opinions. I'd like to know what you think. So if you want to chat, please do. If you're watching this delayed, leave a comment under the video. Maybe I'll read it. I honestly don't know.
Baghdadi, but we took them both out. We took 100% of the caliphate. When I took it over, it was all over the place. It was a disaster. So that's the ISIS caliphate.
It won't be on your second-term agenda to drop cargo planes at cash for mullahs in Iran. I'm just guessing.
Think of it, 1.8 billion in green, beautiful cash, but in cash.
It wasn't, but I'm fascinated by his obsession with cash, like a money transfer or check. It's not worth 1.8. It's 1.8 billion is 1.8 billion. Which weighs more, a pound of feathers or a pound of bricks?
1.8 billion. I think it was 5 plane loads of cash. 5 plane loads.
Cargo.
1.8 billion and 150 billion. Actually, I was more impressed with 1.8 billion in cash, if you want to know the truth. So it was one of those things.
Mark was.
Oh, I can pressure people. Yeah, that's what I should do. Hey, what's up, YouTube? What's up, y'all? Hey, go ahead and click the like button. Where's the like button? Like button's way over there. Hit the like button, thumbs up for COVID-19, and share, and save, and add me to your favorite. I'm no good at this.
Wisconsin. Hey, Mark, how are you?
Hi, Mark.
Doing well. Looking forward to your
He looks like Bolton, but a better-looking version. Look at him with that button.
I could do the
Much
same.
better looking.
I could do as good a job, I think. Looking forward to your second term.
Thank you.
The big concern I've got is how are you going to make sure that the election is fair and free from fraudulent absentee votes and mail-in ballots? That's the concern I've got.
I think it's the most important question I'll be asked because it's a great question. So now we have a mail-in thing. And you see California, he's sending out millions and millions of ballots. Where are they going? Where aren't they going?
They're going to registered voters?
Is the postman going to hand them out? Are they going to take them?
Yeah, yes, that's the way mail works. The postman hands out the letters. He missed that episode of Sesame Street.
Out of the mailboxes. The other thing, Mark, it's very important. You get to foreign countries, you know, they keep talking, oh, Russia,
Sheila, guck you.
China, this, especially China, not Russia, especially China. Are they going to print millions of ballots using the exact same paper, using the exact same machines? And are they going to
be able to put the correct barcodes on there? And then are they going to be able to get everyone to sign those fake ballots and hope that the actual people with the signatures on record with the counties don't send in their ballots, which would then invalidate the millions of ballots that they printed up on paper without the correct barcodes?
print ballots and then hand them in? And all of a sudden, it's the biggest risk we have. The mail-in ballot, and not so much the absentee ballot.
Not the 125,000 dead Americans that's only rising. The biggest risk is a country printing up ballots that won't count.
Because an absentee, like I'm in the White House and I have to vote in Florida, et cetera, you're absentee, it's okay.
It's the same thing, and you could have voted because you were playing golf literally across the street on the day you could have voted.
But people go through a process for that. You know, it's really pretty good. But the mail-in ballot...
The process for the absentee ballot is the process for the mail-in ballot.
They mail them to anybody. And
it's pretty good, apparently. Pretty good.
They send them out by the millions. I think I read over 30 million ballots are going to
because there's voters in the millions. We live in a big country.
Be sent out in California. Where are they going?
To the voters.
Nobody's standing there watching you vote. At least the other way, you get in line.
Nobody stands there and watches me vote when I'm in my little polling place. God, I hope they don't.
And they're using, you know, I said the other day, we went through World War I and we voted. We went through World War II and we voted. And now we have a virus. And by that time, it'll be less and less. Why aren't we going to vote? People want to vote.
Because of the virus. Oh, but by election day, it'll be less and less? Yeah, I've heard it's going to be close to zero.
But it would be nice to be able to see the people. And on top of that, they should have ID voting.
Absolutely.
Okay? We should have ID ballots.
Absolutely.
Great
Voter ID is what he's trying to say.
Question. You said you would like to have more than...
So my new mom, Kay, my dad got remarried after my mom passed away. She's from Tennessee, and way deep south Tennessee, as south as you can get in Tennessee. And she told me an interesting story the other day. She explained that the reason you don't want voter ID is because in her small town, which was all whites, if you came in from out of town to vote because part of the district and you happened to be a minority, even if you showed ID in order to vote, the people at the polling station would say, "Nah, this ain't you," and they would send you away. And everybody in that station would back each other up because they're all good old boys and they all support each other. And that's from a white woman from the South. That's one of the reasons you don't want voter ID.
3 debates with Joe Biden.
I said I'll have 3, and any amount they want. I didn't say I want more. See, if you say you want more, just to show what a tricky business is, I want more. They'll say, oh, he feels he's losing, he wants more. So I don't like to say that. I will do whatever number they want to do. It's okay with me.
But a minimum of 3.
Yeah, I guess the 3 is the minimum. Now, he's already saying that he can't do the debates because of COVID. You believe it? I can't do the debates because of COVID. I just heard a little inkling of it 2 days ago. I said, watch this one. No, I will do any amount of debates. You understand what I mean? If I say, I want to do 10 debates, they'll say, oh, he's afraid he's going to lose. No. What I want to do is I'll do the 3, and I'll do any amount that they want. It doesn't make any difference to me.
Biden did say back in March that he didn't want to debate Bernie after they had that debate because of the coronavirus, and we needed to get working on that instead of debating each other. So that's what Biden said. I don't have any evidence of Biden saying that he didn't want to debate Trump. If somebody does have that, let me know.
He is a candidate that will destroy this country. And he may not do it himself. He will be run by a radical fringe group of lunatics that will destroy our country.
If Biden's elected, he will destroy our country. Oh, the Sean Hannity. Because, Obama destroyed our country.
And people have to know that.
We'll take a break. More with Wisconsin President Donald Trump as we continue this edition of Hannity.
I don't think there's going to be anything else.
He's listening.
Oh, hey, you know what we can do? Let's watch the end of this. I'm sure it's just going to be a wrap-up and a thank you.
Mr. President, thank you for being with us. The great people of Wisconsin, 131 days. Y'all ready to vote? Thank you for participating.
131 days till Ejection Day. Woohoo! So that's 131 years in human days. So let's do, well, I've got you guys. Rich, are you here? Rich Mack, are you in the room? Because we can do the Billy Joel Madness nonsense. Let me pull that up. Let's go over here. I'll bring this over here. I'll go to the Twitters. Thanks everyone for watching. If you want to support this sort of nonsense and this sort of nonsense, we're going to do something we call Billy Joel Madness here, where we vote on the top Billy Joel song. We're in the Sweet 16 now, by the way, so this is where things get good. Then go to kevinleefather.com, and this is me begging for pennies, according to someone that was in the broadcast earlier. Please give me pennies. Pennies add up. So I appreciate every one of Chris Wilson's annual 38 cents. I really do. That's 38 pennies. I'm pretty good at math that way. Give me a second here. Let's finish this off. You can't vote for Billy Joel Madness anymore because there's no vote up there. Let's see who won. No. Okay, that's the previous vote on this. It's Don't Ask Me Why against the Stranger. Hold on, we're going to go down and we're going to bring this up here. Can I display close up with chat? Yes, you guys are still chatting. So this was the previous vote. Don't Ask Me Why and The Stranger tied 50-50. So we had that vote again, and let's see what happened. Here it is. Don't Ask Me Why moves on. The Stranger is gone, which is unfortunate because The Stranger is a brilliant song. So let me then get into the brackets. Give me a moment, please. Thinking. Let's find that in the brackets. It's right here. Don't ask me why versus the stranger. I can bring this up. There we go. Select the winner. Don't ask me why. And it was, I'm just going to say 52-48 for the sake of rounding things out. So don't ask me why. We'll take on the winner of, I have to do that over here, Vienna and Say Goodbye to Hollywood. So, wow, that is a battle. Two heavyweights. Vienna versus Say Goodbye to Hollywood. At random, I'm sorry you're sad about The Stranger. I am too. That's a brilliant introspective song. We all have a face that we hide away forever, and we take them out and show ourselves when everyone is gone. Why were you so surprised that you never saw The Stranger? Did you ever let your lover see The Stranger on the shelf? It's been a while since I listened to it. I saw Billy Joel in 1976 in Oakland. You're not that old, Marcy. You're thinking of your dad, Maurice, who saw The Stranger in 1976 and told you about it. We know the truth. So some of you are happy about that. So I'm going to put the Vienna Say Goodbye to Hollywood up right now while you guys are on here, and you can all go over there and we can watch the vote happen. So let me grab this. Actually, I'm going to grab this here instead. This here, and make up tweets and do this. And it's not overtime anymore. We're going to say round 2, vote now or don't. That'll get people to vote. Give them a choice. What were the two? Vienna sausages versus Say Goodbye to Hollywood. To Hollywood, say goodbye, my baby. Say goodbye to Hollywood. Doom, doom, doom. Not a GIF. Nobody wants a GIF in there. You can't put a GIF in there. Let's do the vote. Choice 2. Vienna waits for you. Do, 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 do. Did I do it right? It's gone. Let's go to my profile, make sure that it's there. And full bracket. I didn't do the full bracket, but I'll do the full bracket right here. Hold on. Share via link. There's the full bracket. Let's go back here. Full bracket here. And I'll put Billy Joel Madness in there as well so people can understand what it's about. Madness. Boom. Tweets. Okay, so we can... Oh, there we go. So right away, Say Goodbye to Hollywood, 100% over Vienna. Vienna fans, you better get in there and start voting. There it is right there. This is the live stream. Oh, it went away. Somebody took their vote for Say Goodbye to Hollywood away. So jump out, get in there, vote for your choice, because apparently the Republicans are controlling this and they're disenfranchising your vote. Remember, you can't vote by mail. The ballots have to... Oh, now it's 50-50. Okay, so, this is going to be a ballot. Billy Joel... Andy says, Billy Joel, I drove past the carpentry of his family in Augsburg, Germany. I didn't realize he had a carpentry. They fled Adolf to immigrate to your great country. Thank you. This is a great country. This is a land of opportunity. I know I'm very zoomed in, so you guys can see the live results, Lizzie. Rich, you bought In-N-Out just for me. That's why you're the sponsor of this. Let's go to, let's see. How can I do your nice sponsorship deal? Give me a second here. Not that. Wait for it. Here is Rich Mac's name on the big screen. Here it is. Billy Joel Madness 2020, presented by Rich Mac. Okay, go back to the close-up here. Let's see where we are. Oh, Say Goodbye to Hollywood taking over the lead, guys. Say Goodbye to Hollywood just won 100%. So there's 23 hours and 57 minutes left of that, guys. You can look at that. And I think that's about it for today. I really don't think we're going to have any more Trump on us today. This is interesting that Twitter's doing it this way because Vienna has votes. So now I'm not really... that certain Twitter's polls are that valid, quite honestly. I don't know. I'm not in charge of anything. Let me bring myself in here, because really this is all about just looking at myself. Video capture device. Boop, boop, boop. Here I come. I'm going to be big. Oh, I'm way up there. Hey, guys. I'm way down here. I'm on top of you. All right, yeah, it's bedtime for everybody. You voted. Good for you. I have a button, Jana. It's for you, and I want you to hold it right in front of the special bits, like this, down here, just like that. In fact, pin it there. But if you're a guy, be very careful when you're pinning it there. And if you're a girl, enjoy. Okay, kids, I think that's more than enough for tonight. Let me go so I can find the closing credits. This broadcast tonight was brought to you by Ruth Ann, who got shafted, not by a voting pen. Now it's 50-50, by the way, guys. So back at it. With 2 votes. Okay, this whole thing is not working properly. So Ruth Ann brought the broadcast to you, the Town Hell to you today. So we appreciate that. Thank you very much, Ruth Ann. You're probably not watching anymore, but we appreciate you. She wrote me a very nice email after I got in touch with her and told her where her money had ended up. I found it. I appreciate it very, very much. And I really appreciate the very nice email that you wrote. And I'm willing to send you my pajamas. She doesn't even want the pajamas. That was a joke. I was going to let you guys choose which pair of pajama pants she received for her $100 because I didn't realize that was even a deal I made. And it wasn't. But it sounds like a deal that I would make. I will be making deals like that for October 3rd when we're doing our charity event for Books and Bricks, sending kids to school in Kenya. If you guys have some ideas of what sort of things I can auction off on October 3rd, let me know. Dares, things that you guys are willing to do. Challenges, the standard telethon, PBS. I'll send you a bag. Totes. Yeah. Oh, no. Here we go. We've taken over again. Let me get out of the way. 58% for Say Goodbye to Hollywood, and suddenly we've launched up to 12 votes. So all hell is breaking loose. Good night, Chris. Good night, Andy. Or good morning, Andy. Tim Kevin. How did you know my middle name? That's amazing. Are you the one who's messing with my credit? Good night, Lizzie. Good night, Rich. Good night, everybody else who was in here tonight. David, if you're still watching at random, go sleeps. Let's see. Anybody else? A locket of hair. Chris, you're scaring me. Who else was in here? Marcy, if you're still in here, have a good night. Jana, have a good night. Danielle, thank you for doing all of the moderating that you did, if any. I saw Stephanie in here earlier. Samantha, her alter ego. No, nobody's getting my boxers. My boxers are so ratty, too. You guys don't want my boxers. On that note, I think I'm going to say goodbye. One more check of the scoreboard here. You know what? I'm going to refresh and see if it actually does anything. Okay, there it is. No, it stayed the same. Everything stays the same. 58-33 right now, and Say Goodbye to Hollywood. And this screen is messed up because you can see my green screen. I'm so embarrassed. I'm just chagrined. Look at that. Good morning, Barbara. Andy says, we want your stuff, Heavenly Father. Hey, I am available for a price. All of my stuff is available, I should say. My soul, by the way, costs $180,000. That's the going rate for a soul. After we found out Kellyanne Conway defended the president saying Kung Flu, something that she had earlier said was highly offensive. Oh, hey, check this out, guys. We can go down here. Now we're watching the broadcast. Now it's infinity. Do that. See how much of a delay we're on. Okay, now zoom up on your broadcast, Kevin. Kevin, Kevin, future Kevin. This is like a Star Trek episode. Future Kevin, do what I say. He's going to send me a warning, making sure that I don't do something that if I do, which inevitably I will do, I end up in that situation. That is the plot of every 7th episode of Star Trek Next Generation. Every 6th episode is the holodeck goes bad. Like at some point, stop using the holodeck. It was my brief respite. This is a respite. All right, guys. You have a doctorate in parapsychology? That's pretty cool. I went parachuting once. Sleep well to everybody in the U.S. Barbara, go to sleep. It must be 5 o'clock in the morning by now. Oh, I'm future Kevin. Guys, don't do what I'm doing. Stop right now. Go back. I did say doo-doo. I say doo-doo a lot. I say a lot of doo-doo. You know what else I say? Goodbye.
Kevin, tell us what you got. Okay, we don't have Kevin.